Hey, welcome to my channel. My name's Joe, where I help you make better coffee and give you honest reviews. Today I have a long-awaited Baratza Sette 270wi review. I've been waiting because I want to use it on a few different machines before I gave you my full opinion on it. Before we get started though, go ahead and hit the like button and consider subscribing, as I'm a small creator and it helps me out a ton. So thanks for that. Alright, so first up, we have a few items that I'd like to go over on this, and I'd like to kind of start with the negative pieces that I don't like about the machine. The first biggest thing I would say, and something that I didn't think that I'd care about that much, is how loud the machine is. It is pretty dang loud at 90 decibels when you're running this thing. So that is getting into very loud territory. Other machines I've measured, are closer to like 80, and that's, loud, but it's not quite 90. 90 decibels is very loud. So that's one thing, and there's really nothing you could do to fix that other than maybe if you want to put like some foam pieces around it or something. There's not like anything you could do. So there's that little negative piece there. The other thing too is it is a straight through grinder, which is really nice, but it does still, it says that it's zero retention, but I've noticed that it's not quite zero retention. There is occasional grinds and stuff that will get stuck in different nooks and crannies in this machine. So single dosing can be done, but just realize that what you put in might not be what you get out. You might be off by a couple of fractions of a gram, but that's okay because this will stop grinding at the exact weight. So that leads me into the next piece. I really, really like the grind by weight. It's not exact every time. It's going to be off by 0.2 or 3 grams, but it does a really, really great job. I would say that of all the grinders I've ever used, not that I've used a ton of high-end grinders, but this is definitely my favorite grinder to use because it's just so quick, so fast. You put your portafilter in here, you hit a button, and as long as everything's dialed in, you have pretty good coffee, and the distribution's not half bad either. So I do like that a lot. Something that I don't like though, that I truly get annoyed with, is the fact that this grinder says that it's an espresso grinder, and it is, but it also says that it's a drip filter grinder, which it can be, but you can't really have both, because this is only an espresso grinder, in my opinion, if you are going to put one of the shims in. I have a video I'll link above on how to do that, but if you are going to use this for an espresso grinder, I highly recommend, as soon as you pull this thing out of the box, put that in there before you get grinds everywhere, because it makes it more difficult to put that shim in. But it is 100% necessary. At least one shim and possibly 2 shims, depending on how high-end your machine is, and like if you're using flow profiling or not. But this, when you put it in there, you're going to lose your ability to make drip style. Drip style only really works at like 31 all the way over here without the shims in. And when you don't have a shim in, maybe you'll be able to do a smaller portafilter grinder. If you're using like a 49 millimeter or 54 millimeter portafilter, such as a Breville or a La Pavoni. But anything at the 58 millimeter is not really going to be great with no shims installed. So that's the negative pieces. The positive pieces that I really like, like I mentioned, I love the grind by weight. I'm not sure how good a fractional time scale would work. So like something like the La Specialista, I've never used one. I plan on using one soon, but it would be very interesting to see how different my weights are when I use a time base versus actually grinding by weight. My thought is it might not be that big of a difference, but it's very nice to know what your exact weight is at. The other thing that I really like about this is the ability to have multiple portafilters you could use on here. Now you do have to adjust this. You have to move this up or down, or maybe change these little doohickeys here to make everything fit correctly. But as long as you take the time to do that, you can fit just about any size portafilter, and size or you know, different styles, whether it's bottomless or with a stem. So yeah, I really like it. Now the other thing too is that this is stepless. They make a Sette 30 that doesn't have this bottom piece that moves around, but this is really nice because if you are dialed in on the large like pieces here, like the 30 through 1, maybe you just want to make a slight adjustment. This ability to go from A all the way down to like H or G or whatever, it's very, very nice. I don't find myself using it a ton, but the times that I do use it, I like it a lot. So let's go over to the espresso machine. I'll pull a couple of shots showing you just changing this, and I can show you how much it actually makes a difference. So let's go ahead, see it. Okay, we're back at the espresso machine. I'm gonna pull about 2 shots just to show you the difference it makes in adjusting the stepless adjuster here. So I'm gonna start at the coarsest setting at, or like past H, and then we're gonna go, and I'm gonna go halfway down just to show you, you know, how big of a difference it makes. It is pretty minor, but they say a full rotation is 1 full step. So, you know, you say with that what you will, but let's test it out and see what the differences are. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull a shot and I'm gonna wait 30 seconds on the timer. We're gonna weigh it out, then I'm gonna adjust it, and I'll show you my process for doing that. So let's get to it. All right, so we pulled this shot. We had 14.6 grams into the portafilter, and we got 55 grams out. So obviously it ran really fast, as you can see in the shot. I'm gonna do another one. I'm gonna show you my method here. So I'm gonna go halfway through, so that's gonna be all the way down to about E. And what I'm gonna do is, you can't just adjust it, even though it does say it's 0 retention and all that stuff, you still are gonna have some grinds that have kind of already gone through that process. So what I do is I typically go for about 3 to 4 grams, and I toss those. So we got 5 grams there, just kind of dump them out. Make sure you don't have any of those fines in there. Check your portafilter too, because sometimes you get stuff stuck in the actual basket. So what we're gonna do, again, now that it's been adjusted, let's see what the differences are. Okay, on the left side is the half-step adjustment on the stepless adjuster, and on the right is all the way to the coarsest setting. So as you can see, it definitely makes a pretty big difference. And also the espresso machine is not perfectly aligned, so you'll notice that it does kind of hang to the back. I did fix that recently, but I didn't really notice it until taking a quick couple of looks at these. But yeah, it does seem like the finer adjustment did make a big difference, and it looks like a much better shot actually. All right, so we just pulled 2 shots, and as you can see, this was the first one, and this pulled out about 50 grams. This was the second one, and we had 39 point something grams, about 7 or so. But as you can see, a half turn equates, at least in this particular coffee, it equated to about 10 seconds. So maybe you could say for every step it's about 2 seconds or so, but you know, a lot of that can be variable, but definitely it makes a huge difference when you're turning that stepless piece there. So once you kind of get yourself into a good range between, you know, 50 and maybe 30, as long as you're using it in the middle, you can really adjust just that piece to get yourself to a good spot. So in conclusion, the Baratza Sette 270wi is a phenomenal grinder. Just realize that when you're using it, make sure you do set these up. It does have an adjuster here. You can change it, and then once you are happy with where you have it, you can go ahead and save it. So make sure you're doing that. And the other thing too is there is an override, so if you just want to use it to grind a ton, you just hold this play power button down until it says P, and then it'll start grinding a bunch. So it's really a great option for, you know, anybody trying to make espresso. I don't know if I'd recommend it for somebody that was going to use this for a standalone, you know, pour over or something like that. If you're really into making AeroPresses, this is probably one of the best AeroPress grinders you could possibly get. It's super nice because you could definitely get into that slightly above espresso range to get a really nice, cup of coffee. But I really like the grinder. I highly recommend it. Just know that if you are going to buy that grinder, I have the link below so you can purchase it. And if you do buy it, realize it's going to be very loud on the ears. So maybe wait for some other grinders for me to review, or if you have something else in mind, let me know in the description or in the comments below, and I can maybe give you a recommendation or not. Catch you in the next one. Thanks.